Hi, superstars. It is time for English, and we are on Unit 2, Week 1, and we are talking about tools we use. We're going to listen to a story, and the genre of this story is a tale. So, a tale is like a fable, it is a fiction story, and fiction means it's made up. But fables and tales often teach a lesson. So the title of this story is Timmy Moto. Timmy Moto is a character in this tale, and this tale is from the country of Japan. So when we're listening or reading a story, remember, good readers always ask themselves questions about what's happening in a story to help them understand as you read. So, I want you to think about the story and have some questions. You can have questions before or during the story to help you better understand. Let's listen to the story of Timmy Moto.
Timmy Moto, a tale from Japan. How do tools help Timmy Moto explore? Many years ago, in a small village in Japan, an old woman and her husband were talking about their life's wishes. I have only one wish, said the woman. I am sad that we never had children. I wish that we could have a child, even if he were no bigger than my finger. The old man nodded his head and sighed. Later that day, the woman took her bucket to go fetch some water. She was walking along when she heard a cry coming from the ground next to the path. She looked down and saw a tiny baby, only 1 inch long, wrapped in a piece of red cloth. "My wish has come true," cried the woman. She picked up the baby and cradled him in her hands. Filled with joy, she brought the baby home to her husband. They named him Timmy Moto.
All right. So, do you see Timmy Moto? He's right here. Look how tiny he is. Where's his mom? Well, she's holding him, right? So she wanted a baby so bad that she didn't care if it was big or if it was tiny. And she found Timmy Moto, and he was the size of her thumb. All right, let's see what happens next.
Timmy Moto grew up, but he never grew very tall. When he was 15 years old, he only stood as high as his mother's middle finger. On the day of his 15th birthday, Timmy Moto decided that he wanted to see the world. "I am going on a journey," he announced. "We understand, son," said the old man. "We too wanted to explore the world when we were younger. Let us give you some tools for your journey." The old woman fetched a sewing needle, slid it into a piece of straw, and tied it to Timmy Moto's belt. "You will need a sword to protect yourself," she said. The old man went to the kitchen. He returned with a rice bowl and a chopstick. "And you will need a boat and a paddle," he said to Timmy Moto. "You can get far if you travel on the river." "Thank you," said Timmy Moto. "These tools will help me as I explore new places." Timmy Moto said goodbye to his parents. "Be safe," they said to him. "Watch out for the night giant who lives down the river." Timmy Moto hopped in his boat and paddled away.
All right, I heard that Timmy Moto's mother and father gave him many tools. They gave him a needle to use as a sword. I wonder what he will need to protect himself from. How will he use the other tools that his parents gave him? I think if we keep listening, we can find out. So let's turn the page.
Timimoto set out on his adventure to discover the world. As he was paddling along, he felt something sticky tap his shoulder. He turned and saw a huge frog on a rock behind his boat. The frog was trying to catch him with its tongue. Wait, thought Timimoto. I have the perfect tool for this. He raised his chopstick high in the air and whacked the frog on the nose. The frog dived into the water and swam away. Later, Timimoto arrived at a small village. He saw a crowd of people running toward their houses. He got out of his boat and walked into the village. He spoke to a man who was pushing a cart of vegetables. "Excuse me, sir, why is everybody running?" he asked. The man looked down and said, "You must be new in town, young man. Hasn't anybody told you about the giant who comes out at sunset?" Suddenly, Timimoto remembered what his parents had told him. This must be where the night giant lives, he thought. Timimoto thanked the man and raced back to his boat.
All right, so what did the man tell him about why all of the people are running away? What did this man here tell Timimoto when he asked him, why is everyone running away? Because of the night giant. His parents warned him of this night giant. They said, be careful. So I wonder what's going to happen next. Let's listen and find out.
Timimoto ran toward the dock, but it was too late. The sun had already set behind a hill. What would happen next? Suddenly, the ground started to rumble and shake. The night giant appeared behind poor Timimoto. "I am hungry for a big dinner," the giant roared. "You are very small, but you'll do for my first bite." The giant scooped up Timimoto and popped him in its mouth. Inside the giant's mouth, Timimoto knew just what to do. "Mother gave me this sword for a reason," he thought. Timimoto lifted the sword high above his head and brought it down on the giant's tongue. The giant let out a terrible scream. Timimoto leaped out of the giant's mouth and landed safely on the ground. "That hurt!" the giant cried. "I will never return to this village again," he whined as he ran back into the forest. One by one, the townspeople came out of their houses and surrounded Timimoto. "You have defeated the night giant," they cheered. "Thank you, friend." Timimoto bowed his head, then got into his boat and paddled toward home.
So who is this character here? Who is that? That's the night giant. And who is this right here? That's Timimoto. So what did the giant do when he saw Timimoto? He wanted to eat him, right? So he put him in his mouth. But Timimoto's mom gave him a tool. Do you remember what tool that was? The needle. She said, you can use this as a sword. And when the giant put him in his mouth, he used that sword to poke him with. And the giant got him out of his mouth and said he'll never return to that village again. So Timimoto saved all the people from this terrible giant. So we just learned how tools can be helpful to explore things, right? Okay, let's read another story. We're going to listen to another story about tools. Now remember, I want you to ask questions You can't ask me directly, but you can think about questions as you're listening to this story. So we can ask, what tool is the boy using to observe the leaf? What tool is he using over here? Do you know what that's called? That's a magnifying glass. So he's using a magnifying glass to help him explore. Do you see how it makes the leaf bigger? So he can look at the little tiny details on that leaf, so he can explore and learn. So right here, we can see that there is Discover with Tools. That is the title of this story. Discover with Tools. We have headings in this story. This is called a heading. And a heading tells us what kind of information we're going to find on that page. So this heading says, Discover Close Up. All right, follow along with me as I read this. Tools help us to discover things. A magnifying glass is a tool. It makes things look bigger. Let's go to page 37 here. So which part of the text is the heading on this page? Remember, we talked about headings on page 36. So now we're here on 37. Which part of the text, the writing, is the heading? This right here is the heading, and it says, Discover Far Away. All right, let's read together. Point to the words as I read. Objects in space are far away. A telescope makes them look closer. It can help you see the moon and stars. So what do people use a telescope to explore? Objects in space, right? Like the moon and the stars, so they can see them closer. All right, let's turn our page. All right, let's see. Where's the heading on page 38? Here it is. And it says, Discover Long Ago. Let's read. Scientists use tools to dig up dinosaur bones. A brush and a chisel clean away the dirt. Scientists study the bones to find out more about the past. So if we look in that smaller photograph on this page 38, what is the scientist using to clean away the dirt? What does it look like here in this smaller photograph? The scientist is using a brush. That is correct. He's using a brush to clean off that dirt, right? So how does the author help us understand what a chisel is? Well, he tells what the scientist does with it, right? Right over here, he says a brush and a chisel clean away the dirt. All right, let's look at our next page, 39. Here's the heading. Discover something new. Scientists use tools to find new medicines. A microscope helps make things larger. We could never see some things without a microscope. Let's turn the page. All right, let's see where our heading is. Discover on your own. Read with me. Find the tool the children in the picture are using. What do you think they will discover? What things would you like to discover? So what tool are the children in the picture using? Do you see it? It's a magnifying glass. And what are they using the tool to observe? Let's look at these over here. What does it look like? Pine cones and rocks. So they're using tools to learn about different things. All right, good job. Open your close reading companion to page 15. Right here. Now, if you don't have this close reading companion, it's okay. You can just follow along with me here, okay? So we are talking about here discover with tools, and we read that story. So here it says find clues. How do these pages compare what tools can do? So you're going to circle the clues. So we're looking at this page and this page. Remember, we read about it. So these two pages compare what tools can do. So what do you see the tools helping here? Well, you want to circle the tools that they're using because these tools, remember, they're cleaning away the dirt. And this tool here is helping this scientist see small things in a larger way with this microscope. So one tool is helping to see new things, and these tools are helping to discover old things and clean them. So the tools in this first page here, these tools find, what do these tools help find? They help find old. Are they clean? No, they're pretty dirty, remember? They're old, dirty, and are they digging up? They're digging them up, aren't they? So they're buried. Old, dirty, and buried things. I don't have any room. You might have more room than me. So you can write this on your lines. So these tools find old, dirty, buried things. Remember, they're using the brushes to brush off the dirt, and they're digging up those bones, right? Okay, let's look over here. These tools, what do they help find? These microscopes. They help find new small things. They're too small to see without a microscope, right? So you need that tool to see those tiny, tiny new microscopic organisms. Okay, that's page 15. We're going to turn our page now. Okay, let's look at page 16. We're right here. Okay, we are going to listen to a song about how we use our minds to invent. So we're right up here. This song is about how we use our minds to invent. Invent means to create or to design something that has not existed before, that no one else has made. So when we invent something, we create something or we design something that no one else has created or designed before. What is your idea for an invention? Draw the tools you need. All right, let's read inventive minds. That's minds that create or design something. Inventions can change the world, you may say, but did you know we're inventors today? And now, just like Orville and Wilbur Wright, our ideas are starting to take flight. We all have inventive minds. We're thinking of new ideas all the time. Yes, kids have inventive minds. We're using them every day of our lives. All right, let's look right here really quick. So it says, and now, just like Orville and Wilbur Wright, these were brothers named Orville and Wilbur Wright. They were called the Wright brothers, and they invented planes. So they made the first airplane. And that's why it says, our ideas are starting to take flight. They're taking off our ideas. Now, here it says, quick tip. I think about the tools I need to invent or explore. So I want you to draw a picture right here, if you have your book, of tools that you learned about. Okay, so draw some tools that you learned about. Down here it says, I can make an invention with, what do we need to make inventions with? What are we talking about in this unit? We are talking about, you got it? Tools. Very good. So I want to see your picture over here of the tools you learned about. Good job, superstars. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye.